Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm your host, co-editor Ricky Keeler, and you could make the case this is the worst game the Washington Nationals have played this season, or at least the worst outcome. 5-2 lead going into the bottom of the eighth inning, and they lose the game 6-5 in 10 innings on a walk-off sacrifice fly by Freddie Galvis. Phillies have their 5-game losing streak snapped. Nats have their 4-game winning streak snapped. And it's times like this you remember that this team is 21-10, that they did win 2 out of 3, but that's a game you should win. And you, with no Bryce Harper in the lineup, Ryan Zimmerman comes in way too late, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I think Dusty screwed up on that one. And Trey Turner doing nothing. You would have almost had a shot to sweep the series. I mean, that still says something, but again, we keep talking about bullpen, and it's amazing this team is 21-10 because their bullpen is that bad. I mean, you can't even feel comfortable with a 3-run lead, much less a 1-run lead, and the game really changed when bad defense. You got Murphy making a wild throw. You had Trey Turner's error earlier in the game leading to 2 runs. You just can't make sloppy defensive mistakes because it's going to come back to bite you. We want to hear from you, though, throughout the podcast, so please feel free to chime in with us here on the YouTube chat. You can also tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or at District on Deck. Let's take a look at the totals, which that's Ron's line, so I like looking at the totals. 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for the Nationals, 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the Phillies. Hector Neris gets the win, 2 perfect innings in relief. Strikes out 1. Phillies bullpen, Pat Neshek and Hector Neris did a great job over the last 3 1/3 innings. Blake Trinan takes the loss. It just gets worse for Blake Trinan, and you feel bad for the guy because it gets to a point where Herrera taps one past the third base bag for a double. You got a Velasquez bunt that's impossible to field that ends up being a base hit. You just right now you have to think Trinan's got no confidence. And that's a problem. Ron wrote about it the other day that the problem I think the Nationals have, and we talked about this the other day, there's nowhere to send Blake Trinan down right now. I mean, who's coming up? I mean, your only logistical argument would be, all right, when Coda Glover comes back, Blake Trinan goes down to AAA. But are you really helping the bullpen then? But you can make the case you are because Trinan just can't produce. I mean, it's kind of like waving the white flag right now when you put him in. And you feel terrible. This is a guy that had a great season last year, came in as the closer going into the year. I'm sure he had to feel great. Now he feels probably 100% the exact opposite. And it's really tough to watch him pitch right now because you can see it on his face. He just doesn't have it. And half this game is mental. So we'll have to see if Blake Trinan can bounce back, but I'm starting to wonder if he can or not. Looking at it from other bullpen failures, Matt Albers did it. Well, first it started with Matt Grace. Grace was very hittable today after Tanner Roark starting. We will get to Tanner Roark, so don't worry about that one. Grace comes in the 7th inning, gives him a couple of base hits, gets out of it thanks to a double play ball by Andrew Knapp. Then the 8th, Albers Grace stays in, gets a strikeout, but then the bad throw by Murphy. Nava gets a base hit. You got 2 on, 2 out. And you go to Altair against Albers. And Ron and I were talking. Ron was doing the live tweeting today. We were talking right before that how the decision by Pete McCann to double switch Mike Alfranco out of the game was bad. But it just shows you how low the Phillies think of Mike Alfranco right now. That Aaron Altair, who's hitting the ball great, is coming into the game. But Altair hits the first pitch slider from Albers, crushes it to left field, ties the game at 5. First runs Matt Albers has given up the entire season. And it's been a great story. But at some point, he turns back into Matt Albers. So that's really what it comes down to. Then he comes in the 9th and can't find the plate in the 9th inning. And you have a situation where he walks Blanco, then he makes the error on the Galvis, but probably wasn't getting Galvis anyway. And give Eddie Romero a lot of credit. He comes in, bases loaded, 1 out. Eventually, when he comes in, Wilmer Difo saved the game at one point by knocking the ball in the infield. Gets Hernandez to get a check swing, ground out, and then gets Nava to fly out. So Romero, I thought, did an excellent job in this game. I mean, I think he takes the mantle now of most trusted reliever. I don't know if that's a mantle you want to have, though. I mean, I'm trying to think about and I don't know if that's a coveted position right now. Chris says, why Trident, why? Yeah, it's just the way it goes. I said it earlier. I mean, it was either going to be him or Joe Blanton. Take it when it got to extra innings. They couldn't. I don't think their bullpen could afford a long extra inning game anyway. But it's not. You probably didn't want him to be the one that even lowered his confidence more. Looking on the mound today, I thought Tanner Roark, again, you look at his outing, 6 innings pitched, 2 runs, none of them earned on 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 100 pitches, only 56 strikes. And it goes back to the point, last 3 starts, we have not seen Tanner Roark have great command. I mean, this season, he has been, when you look at his ability to get the ball down in the zone, he's not doing that. And that, I think that's partially on Jose Lobaton. He's got to be able to adjust when Roark's not getting a certain pitch over early in the game for a strike. You had the Colorado game where he barely got out of the 5th. You had the 125 pitch game, which again, you can look at that start either way. I choose to look at it as you couldn't finish anybody off. And now today you had almost half strikes, half balls, and you still only gave up 2 hits. But imagine if Roark was able to get hitters out sooner. He could have pitched deeper into this game, and that could have helped the Nationals. Maybe they would have got the win if that was the case. So I think you're looking at Tanner Roark 2 different ways. So I keep saying this, and I feel bad harping on this. Tanner Roark is the worst of the 4 starters right now. And yes, I hate to say it, after a guy gave up 2 hits. Maybe my expectations are higher. I don't know. You can correct me if you think that's the case. But all the time, he's nibbling. He's nibbling on the corners. And he doesn't have the velocity. I understand that. But this is a guy who is always consistent with his command. It hasn't been the case this year. And you wonder if he's going to eventually find it. I think he's better than this. But he's got to be able to give you 7 innings. And you weren't going to see him go 7 after throwing a $125 to start prior. I was kind of surprised he got to 100. But that's the way it goes with Tanner Roark's case. Like I said, no Bryce Harper today, still out with the groin. Ryan Zimmerman did come into the game, but came in to play the field. And I think that was a problem in of itself. If you're going to bring Ryan Zimmerman into the ball game, he should have pit for Adam Lind in the top of the 10th. I get maybe you're trying to get to the 11th and 12th and you're trying to save him, but at that point, you're tied and you need a run. Zimmerman's the guy you want up there to lead off an inning. He's not the guy I want 5th up in the 11th. That's the last thing I'm thinking about at that point. So I don't know if Dusty managed Ryan Zimmerman right in this game. Because he's your best weapon right now. And I think you should have if you could get him in at bat, you get him in at bat. And the fact that he went without an at bat today, yes, he keeps the hit streak alive, but I wanted to see him hit. I thought that was disappointing. Other disappointments, I don't like to be negative. This is kind of a negative game if you think about it. Trey Turner goes the whole series without a hit, strikes out 2 more times. If you're going to have days where Matt Wieters doesn't play and Bryce Harper doesn't play and Ryan Zimmerman doesn't play, all different reasons, then Trey Turner's got to get on base. I mean, Trey Turner has to find a way to get on base and start the speed game going. That's how you manufacture runs. He just didn't do that today. He didn't do that all weekend. And Turner had the great series in Colorado. But besides that, they need him to be a consistent factor on the bases, and he hasn't done that yet. I mean, I want to see the speed come back. When I do the live tweet, I say, let the speed games begin. There haven't been many speed games yet this year, so I want to see that. But enough negativity. Let's look at some positives. I'm usually the positive one on the crew. Sometimes. Jayson Werth, what a game by him today. 4 for 5, couple home runs off Jeremy Hellickson. Absolutely crushed the second one. So basically when Jayson Werth goes back to Philly, everything goes right. I think Nats PR had this. His last 3 multi-homer games are in Citizens Bank Park. He loves hitting in that park. And if the Nats can get more of that from Jayson Werth, they'll sign up for it easily. I mean, he had an excellent game today. 2 home runs, a double, had a base hit as well. Definitely had the best game of the day. And sadly, it went to waste, but I thought he had a great game. Anthony Rendon 1 for 4 with an RBI single. He hit a ball in the 9th that went to the track that I thought was going out of the park. Now, Jose Lobaton did have a hit. I want to talk about the bottom of the order, though. Let's go 5 through 9. Adam Lynn 0 for 3 with a walk. Chris Heisey 0 for 3 with a walk. And Heisey's done nothing since filling in for Bryce Harper. He had bad luck on Friday, but still hasn't done anything. Michael Taylor 0 for 5, 2 more strikeouts. Lobaton 1 for 3, had the base hit and scored the run on the home run. But let me look at Michael Taylor. I was bringing up the stat with Ron I found, and I don't know if the stat has changed. With 2 strikes this season, Michael Taylor is 2 for 27 with 20 strikeouts. 2 for 27 with 20 strikeouts. If I'm a pitcher, I know 2 strikes, I'm going to throw a ball down in the zone, he's going to swing. That's just the way it is. So Taylor's got to find a way to fix his 2-strike hitting because it's really bad. Now, Harper, I think, leads the team at like 286. But Michael Taylor's got to hit better with 2 strikes. Those are some really bad numbers. Otherwise, Daniel Murphy hit today. He goes to in the season. But I think his defense, good at times, but bad at times, kind of cost them here. They went 2 for 7 with men scoring position, left 8 on base. They left 3 people on with 2 outs. Rendon up to 23 RBIs now in the season. So I would say decent start for Tanner Roark today. I would go decent to pretty good. But, again, I just want to see him throw more strikes. I think it's the nature of the beast. I want to see you throw more strikes. He's better than that. He's better than that. I mean, any guy, you could have your B stuff and give up only 2 hits and throw 100 pitches. You're a good pitcher. But there needs to be more consistency with the command from Tanner Roark. Let's look around the division. Marlins beat the Mets 7-0 this afternoon. Giancarlo Stanton with 2 home runs. And the big story from this game, just 1 hit for the Mets. And Matt Harvey was suspended by the team for violating team rules. John Heyman has talked about today how Harvey was golfing Saturday and then had a headache. I think Ken Rosedal also had it was a migraine and he didn't show up to the ballpark. So not looking good if you're Matt Harvey. He's not had a great season, and you're watching the Mets sort of tumble down. And that's really the Nats' biggest competition right now in the division, and they are just everything seems to go wrong for them. I kind of look back at it. Maybe you guys see it the same way. They look like the Nats from 2 years ago. Now, the Nats 2 years ago didn't have a pitcher not show up to the game and had communication issues, and Harvey's filing a grievance, so we'll see what happens with that. But they had injuries, bad start, and eventually the egos kick in. That's how I would view that, so it's something to monitor. And then you have in Atlanta, Cardinals beat the Braves 6-4 in 14 innings. I think Tommy Pham had a 2-run shot in the 14th in that game. I was watching some of that. Actually, a pretty exciting game at SunTrust Park. So the Braves end up losing to St. Louis. So this week coming up, Giants are at New York. Cardinals are at Miami. Phillies have the day off tomorrow, and they will be playing Seattle on Tuesday. A little interleague action for the Phillies. We'll get into tomorrow's matchups in a second. Nats will start a 4-game series with the Baltimore Orioles on the road because Chris talks about the bullpen facing the Orioles. So we'll touch on that in a minute. Let's talk about some of the minor league action going on today. 1 game canceled. Syracuse was supposed to take on Scranton. That game rained out. So Syracuse will play tomorrow against Buffalo. They'll start a series there. So let's go to Double-A first. The Senators lost to the Hartford Yard Goats 6-1 today. Lone RBI in that one coming from Zach Collier, his 6th of the season. Natali Soto had a 2-hit day, but Austin Williams gave up 5 runs in the first inning. Didn't get out of the first inning. Ended up throwing 39 pitches. So the Senators get the loss. They dropped to 12-16 on the year. Wild one in Potomac. They got the win over Lynchburg 4-3 in 11 innings, a walk-off RBI single by Toledo Augustine in the bottom of the 11th. Victor Robles 1 for 4 with a solo home run in this one. 3 hits for Jack Sundberg, and the win goes to Gilberto Mendez. 3 innings of 1 hit ball, 2 walks, but gets the win. Potomac's bullpen gave up 5 hits over the final 5 innings, only struck out 1 batter, and still got the win. Pretty impressive stuff there. Game 1 of a doubleheader with Hagerstown. They took on Hickory today, the Crawdads, and the Suns got the win 10-9. They scored 7 runs in the first 3 innings. Remember, this is a 7-inning game, and they scored 10 runs. Their 6th time they've scored 10 runs this season. Top of the lineup between Blake Perkins, Daniel Johnson, Carter Keeble, Michelle Noisy, 9 hits and 16 at-bats with 4 RBIs. Carter Keeble, 3 for 4 with a couple ribbies. Noisy, his 4th home run of the season. Tyler Watson gives up 6 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings. Strikes out 4 and walks 4, but he gets the win. So good stuff from Tyler Watson, at least getting the win. 90 pitches, 54 strikes. Gets his first of the season. Game 2 going on right now in Hagerstown. It's bottom of the 5th. Crawdads lead the Suns 10-3. Carter Keeble does have a home run in this one. So he's 1 for 1 with a walk. But rough day for Sterling Sharp. 5 earned runs, 8 total on 9 hits over 2 2/3. He's out of the game right now. So the Suns down 10-3. They have a Monday morning game tomorrow at 10:30. And tomorrow you can catch my interview with Carter Keeble on districtondeck.com. Got a chance to talk to him on Saturday. Great interview. He's a guy that you'll absolutely love hearing from, and he's having a great start to his season. And hi to Al. What's going on? Let's get into that Orioles series as we wrap it up here. Let's start with, of course, 4-game set. Ron's going to break it all down for you. It is 5 to watch tomorrow. We'll start it off in Camden Yards, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. Your pitching matchup, Gio Gonzalez goes for the Nats, 3-0 with a 1.64 ERA. He goes up against Kevin Gausman for the Orioles. Gausman 1-3 with a 7.55. And this is an interesting game from the standpoint of, I think Gausman's the wild card here. Keep in mind, if you recall his last start, he got pulled for hitting Xander Bogaerts with a breaking ball and got thrown out of the game. You'll recall the craziness with Orioles Red Sox a few days ago. And I would make the case, I'm sure a lot of people have done this, Gausman should not have been thrown out of that game. And that wrecked Baltimore's pitching for the last couple of days. They just got Chris Tillman back today. So Gausman, to me, he's going to be well-rested. But is there a rust factor involved? And can the Nationals take advantage of it? They do get the DH for a couple of days. So I wonder if Bryce Harper, if he comes back, does he DH in Camden Yards to stay out of the field and just stick to hitting? That route, maybe play Chris Heisey in right one game, play Rafael Bautista the other. Just because you want Bryce to be 100% with that groin. I think it just makes too much sense. So Gausman will be an interesting matchup for the Nats. Nobody's got a home run against them in their careers. Bryce Harper's got a couple of hits. Trey Turner, 3 for 3 against them last year. But the Orioles did a good job keeping him off the bases. Now, Wellington Castillo's there this year, not Matt Wieters. That'll be a fun storyline. Wieters going back to Baltimore. Gio Gonzalez gets the ball here. He got through 5 innings last time to get the win, but I think he had 7 walks in that game. So they need Gio to sort of get that command back. This is a great Orioles lineup. Manny Machado's having another good season. They got Trumbo, Davis, Adam Jones. Castillo's not a bad hitting catcher. So they have so many options that they can beat you with. You've got to be careful against this lineup. I think that's going to be something to watch, is how Gio, if he gets into trouble, can he work his way out of it? Adam Jones is a home run against him, and Manny Machado's 4 for 10. Also, a guy like Trey Mancini is having an excellent start for the Orioles. So that should be a fun matchup. I think it's Scherzer and Jimenez on Tuesday, Miley and Strasburg on Wednesday, and probably Cole or Turner against, I believe, I'm trying to remember, Dylan Bundy on Thursday. He's been a great story for the Orioles, too. Al saying, please beat the Orioles. So we'll see what the Nats can do. It's going to be a fun test. The Beltway series is always fun. Could be a potential World Series preview. Baltimore is right near the top of the AL East, right behind the Yankees. So when you look at where both these teams are, I think if you look at today, you have the right to feel sour about it for a little while. But also remember, this team won another series. Their offense is still hitting. They score 5 runs in a day where 3 of their regulars aren't playing. And it's amazing. We could put both of us in the lineup, me and him, and they'll still score 5 runs. I mean, that's the fun part about this offense right now. But you got to hold leads, and we'll see what they do, because Dusty, to me, I have to wonder if he's running out of options. Well, he actually kind of is running out of options, because right now it's tough to find a guy that can hold the fort. I mean, Ron even mentioned it here in the chat room, said most coveted reliever isn't the same as the Burger King crown. Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could kind of go that route. A couple of good articles we got up today. Chris Lacey wrote up a good piece on A.J. Cole from last night. Worked his way out of trouble a couple of times, and I think showed a little bit in that game yesterday. Drew Douglas, our other writer, has more on Anthony Rendon being our player of the week. And when you have 17 RBIs in a week, there's no reason you aren't player of the week. So I'm sure Rendon might get player of the week in the next couple of days from Major League Baseball. We also, again, we'll have Orioles 5 players to watch. We'll have Carter Kieboom interview tomorrow. We'll have in this game where the bullpen just blows it again. So we'll find another way to put this game in perspective, and you'll find if you missed any portion of the show, you can listen to it on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe it. So if you missed any of the recaps on our post-game shows, check them out. Like us on Facebook, and hit the like button. Get cool stuff going on over there. Tweet us on Twitter, @District on Deck. Tweet me, @Rickinator555. Tweet Ron on Twitter, @Ron Juckett. You can also, again, I'll be here tomorrow for Gio and Gosman, so feel free to join me for that. A lot of fun at Camden Yards. We'll have, again, we're trying to do one minor league, trying to do a minor leaguer each week or an interview, so you can find those too. And we put all our minor league interviews there as well. So the Nats get the loss, but they take 2 out of 3. They lose it 6-5 to the Phillies in 10 innings. So for all of us here at District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler saying have a great rest of your afternoon here on a Sunday. And we'll be back here tomorrow night for a little interleague action on the Beltway between the Nats and the O's.